Namaste. So we are going through the writings of Sri Aurobindo, the whole series as part of 150th year of Sri Aurobindo's birth. And the purpose of these writings is not just to describe a book. This the technical aspects of the book or historical aspects. The purpose is not even to either do a critical analysis of the book, which is far beyond any human being's capacity, but to draw the inspiration for moving on the path, which is ultimately what will count. And in this aspect, there are a few things to understand. One of the most wonderful things that happens by reading the scriptures that are empowered by the light, scriptures like the one which Sri Aurobindo has given. And fortunately, as far as I know, the only world scripture which has come directly transmitted by the author. All other scriptures, whether it be, even if we take the Semitic religions, Bible or others, they're all first by rote, memory here and there, then later on somebody has written. Nobody really knows. The Gita, such a powerful scripture. But again, people are not sure whether Shri Krishna actually said or Vyas. Its significance remains the same, nevertheless. And so do we see with the Vedas and the Upanishads. They are one of the most profound scriptures, not only of Indian thought, but of all spiritual thought. And yet they have been transmitted by rote, and then eventually they have been put to paper by a whole set of people. But Sri Aurobindo and the mother, first time we see directly written, so that there is no ambiguity left, and approached from all the different angles, every subject. This creates a little bit of a problem also, because when people are with Sri Aurobindo's writings, it is like when you go to Varanasi, you have so many ghats. If I remember correctly, 28 ghats. Each is unique, each is wonderful, and I think now they are much more wonderful. So people don't know which ghat to go. So that's where probably it helps to know, because you have little time and you want to go to any ghat, one of the ghats where you will get the most majestic feel of the Ganges. So in this sense, if one has to read one book of Sri Aurobindo, of course Savitri is beyond a book. I have no words for it. But a book which is easy to understand, which contains the essence of his teaching and the core of his practice, then it is the Mother. That's the book with which we are there today. It's also important because this is the book, the small book, and then there were question answers which we'll read today. So this book has come in 1927, which marked 3-4 significant events. As we know, one is Sri Krishna fusing with Sri Aurobindo. This is one which is so much, everybody knows, popularized, Siddhi Day. But the reason why Sri Aurobindo used the word Siddhi Day is because he completed his sadhana of, as far as the individual perfection is concerned. And Sri Aurobindo said that he has attained the Siddhi. So Siddhi Day. So based on that Siddhi, now he started opening the doors for others. So whatever he wrote earlier, that is not any less important. But when he writes after the Siddhi, it assumes a special importance. Second thing is that he himself, from 1927, placed the mother in the forefront, that she is the one through whom the yoga will take place. So it is the other significance of this particular year when the mother appeared. And the third significance is that Sri Aurobindo was maintaining records because his individual yoga, he was monitoring, practicing. He had got a program in records of yoga. We have the 10 limbs of yoga, 8 limbs of yoga. In one of his letters, he speaks about 10 limbs of yoga. So that was a yoga which he was practicing, and he was noting down in his diary meticulously like a scientist from 1909 onwards, and the last entry is 1927. Again, because the Siddhi was over. So the Mother is a very, very special book which occupies a moment of transition from individual possibility of yoga, which Sri Aurobindo completed, And therefore he was sure that the path is open for others to the collective manifestation. That's where the mother had to accept the charge of the disciples. Because, and also her coming made many new things got added into the yoga. Sri Aurobindo speaks of when the mother came, both of them enriched each other. And the yoga subsequently is a joined creation, in Sri Aurobindo's words, of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. Because earlier, before 1920, Arya writings, they are one. But subsequently with the coming of the mother, things got added up. For instance, the word psychic being. So many other things got added up, and therefore the mother assumes a very special significance and place in Sri Aurobindo's writings. I would say all of the books are one side apart and the mother is very special. So last time we read about this small book, The Mother, from chapter 1 to chapter 6, some passages. And then people asked questions because the coming of the mother completely reoriented them. Nalnida writes how when the mother came, before that they were all leading a bohemian lifestyle. Like sadhus who are not bothered about where your clothes are, how you are dressing, how you are living. They were living like that. And for Sri Aurobindo, there were no instructions. He was there, his presence was there, and that was enough for them to draw inspiration. The time was spent in the evening, they would go for football and they would cook food, eat, enjoy, and of course they are in the presence of the mighty and majestic master. And they needed nothing else, of course. So this is how the life was going. With the coming of the mother, suddenly she started organizing the whole thing. Because she is the organizing power, manifesting power of the Supreme. And initially they felt hurt. Why? Because now they can't live the way they were living. First of all, a European lady has come. So coming of a lady has, the way they were living, they have to learn to be little different. Second, she started teaching them by her actions. How should one relate to Sri Aurobindo? So before that, they would all sit together. Sri Aurobindo would never say, I am the guru, the master, the realized one. Because he is that infinity. He is experiencing himself in everyone. So that is how they used to sit. And when the mother came, she would sit on the floor. She taught them Indian manners, though they were all Indians. She would clean the place, she would wait upon him, and then they realized that what it means to be before the master. So the mother's coming made lot of changes, and therefore people naturally asked Sri Aurobindo, who is the mother? Who is she? And of course, different places Sri Aurobindo has said different things, beautiful things. As I said to Barinda, she is born free. So you can't command, nobody can command her. Nobody can say you take charge of the yoga. If she has to take charge of the yoga, it has to be by her own inner inspiration or whatever we may say. She has to feel from inside. So Sri Aurobindo was waiting till one day she accepted the charge of the yoga. So from that day, the entire arrangement changed. Sri Aurobindo had shut the door. Darshan days started. Initially, we know there were 3 darshan days. Then they became 4 darshan days. And people who were freely meeting him, and the mother would hardly speak or communicate. Now the arrangement was they had to go through the mother. That's why some of the sadhaks couldn't understand. Motilal Roy, his own brother, Barin, they couldn't understand the change. So they asked Sri Aurobindo, many of them, who is the mother? So one of the sadhaks asks, I picked up just a few question answers. It's a very big volume and every question is worth reading. Of course, everything from Sri Aurobindo is worth reading. I think in a lifetime, if one can read Sri Aurobindo and the mother's works completely, one has laid the wonderful base for lives to come. And if one cannot read completely Sri Aurobindo and the mother, then read the mother completely. Because she is the one who has been given the charge of the yoga. And then if one has to read just a few books, Then, of course, we have Savitri, Prayers and Meditations, The Mother. These three books are constant companions. If one has to carry just one small booklet, then The Mother is a wonderful book. It's a very small book, not the question answer, but only The Mother for a regular reading. I know people's lives have changed. Just little anecdote, then we will read. So I know the person, he was usual life, eat, drink, be merry, but a very good person, good human being. I mean, honest human being. But God, all this is like a scientific person. So all this is a people who believe. Just it's okay, it's their business. But he didn't believe, and his wife believed in the mother because of her father, and then she used to come regularly. He would let her come, but never felt interested. And one day when he has to travel from one place to another, he is looking for a book because you are in a train and you want to pick up something to read on the way. And in a hurry, he picked up The Mother, not realizing from the stack, small little book. Okay, I'll read it on the way. Like, you read a journal. So, and that book changed his life completely. I mean, that's the power of the book. I myself had a very strange experience with this book. Of course, I had turned to Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. I had read the synthesis, Secret of the Vedas, was reading Savitri and the Life Divine, and I had kept the other books for later. But I didn't know about the Mother because I had never come here, never inquired. I thought this is it. Sri Aurobindo and his books, they are giving me wonderful experiences. It has answered all my queries. What more one needs? So, on Calcutta, Howrah rather, I had to take a train. And there were just 10 minutes to go, and I don't know what prerna, because I used to be very fond of reading, and that day I didn't have, same thing. I must have a book, something I must read, anything. So I ran to Sri Ramakrishna's stall was on Calcutta platform, Howrah platform. Now, I had read Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, and these were nice books, better than all the. So I knew that probably I'll find some book and I'll be happy to read. And I asked him, "Do you have any book by Sri Ramakrishna?" I don't know why, I still don't understand. And he said, "We have something of the Mother." Now, first time I know I am hearing the word the Mother. And he gave me a book, and I thought it is about Ma Sharda. I was not much drawn, but I said, "Oh, it's okay. Something I'll read," because there was very little time. So I paid the money, picked up the book and ran. And I sat and I was so overjoyed. Sri Aurobindo, the Mother. Now, it was like for me, cloud nine. And in that journey of 5-6 hours, I read the book, and it was like, again, what a wonder. And I also had this, who has Sri Aurobindo written about? Is it all about the inner mother? But I felt, no. This is someone very physical. Somehow this came to me. And then, of course, I came to know the day I first time had darshan of the mother on the photograph. And I knew that it is for her that the book was written. This doubt never came that this book has been written for someone else. It was very clear that it is for her. So these books are not books, they have a power. And I always advise, keep them in the shelf. Maybe one day you'll read. Even if you won't read, they carry a living vibration. And these vibrations affect, I have seen it in my own life. I have seen people, how one day they start picking up and reading. And The Mother is an exceptional work in that context. So the question is, do you not refer to the mother, our mother? Now the person is specifying. Our mother means the mother who has come to Pondicherry Ashram, whom people are calling the mother. Her name is Mira Alfasa, which acronym would be MA, which is Ma. So if you put it in short, that's how her grandmother used to write in a, embroider in some of her MA. Because sometimes you write, the short name. So her short name was M.A., Ma. So the disciple asked, "Do you not refer to the mother, our mother, in your book, The Mother?" Sri Aurobindo says, "Yes." Is she not the individual divine mother who has embodied the power of these two vaster ways of our existence, transcendent and universal, because it's there in the mother that the individual, as an individual, she embodies these two vaster ways. But who is that individual? He's not writing. It is understood, but he's not writing. So he says, are you not referring to her when you are saying the individual mother who is embodying these two vaster ways? He said, yes. Has she not descended here amongst us into the darkness and falsehood and error and death in a deep and great love for us? Again, the last passage of the mother small booklet, Sri Aurobindo's reply, yes. At places, somebody wrote, is she an aspect of the transcendent mother? Sri Aurobindo writes, what do you mean by aspect? The mother contains all of them in her individual incarnation. So see, not just the transcendent aspect, but she comes with an angle of vision. She has come for the work of transformation. So that's why we have to remember, for transformation, she is the one. And of course, one can pray to her as to Universal Mother for countless things. There are people who would pray to her for passage from this world to the other after life, after death. And once somebody asked Sri Aurobindo, did Mother hear our call? Sri Aurobindo says, every day she is receiving thousands of calls. Many people praying to her, and she responds to them according to whatever is needed. So the person says, does she remember? He says, what do you mean? In her active outward consciousness? No, she doesn't have to. But if she wants, she can retrieve it. If she wants, she can bring it to the forefront. Yes, this person had prayed for this. But it's not necessary. It's not like a computer. What an amazing. So, further, the disciple asks, there are many who hold the view that she was human but now embodies the Divine Mother, and her prayers, they say, explain this view. Why is she praying? Whom is she praying? But to my mental conception, disciple is asking, to my psychic feeling, she is the Divine Mother who has consented to put on herself the cloak of obscurity and suffering and ignorance, so that she can effectively lead us, human beings, to knowledge and bliss and ananda and to Him. So that's why, yogis who have not experienced this life, especially at least personally for me, I earlier only made it almost a rule. Sannyasis cannot guide householders. This is my basic common sense understanding. They don't know. They will give you nice gyan. You should not fight. It is ego. They don't know what happens in a householder's life. They cannot tell you what is the worry that a mother feels for her child. For a simple reason, because you don't have a child. But Mother and Sri Aurobindo went through the human experiences, and the mother particularly, what it means for a woman to be married, to be expected to cook for a husband, to be expected to look after the children, to be expected to work at the same time. She knew all these. So, personally, my take is very simple. I would rather go to someone who knows all this and has shown the way. So she took upon that life. If you read through her life, it is not, even Sri Aurobindo's life, it's not the life of a typical, often we hear Babaji went to Himalaya. I don't know why they go to Himalaya. I mean, God is everywhere, but for some reason, everybody has a fancy for Himalayas. I am yet to hear someone who went to Alps in Switzerland and came back. But anyways, it's not necessary to go to Himalaya. That's why they could tell us, it is not necessary to withdraw from life. The divine is everywhere and in everything. And if we do not find Him, it is because we have not cared to find Him. Because they lived like that. The mother would play tennis, she would paint, she would play music, and what amazing music. She would teach to the children, everything. She was married, she had a child, name it and she had it. She traveled across the globe, and yet she shows us, precisely because of that, she shows us the way, because she knows all the human difficulties. So the disciple feels that intuitively and asks Sri Aurobindo, And Sri Aurobindo's reply, the divine puts on an appearance of humanity, assumes the outward human nature in order to tread the path and show it to human beings, but does not cease to be the divine. It is a manifestation that takes place, a manifestation of a growing divine consciousness. No human, not human turning into divine. The mother was inwardly above the human even in childhood. So the view held by many, what view held by many? That she was human and through sadhana she became divine. So he says the view held by many is erroneous. And we know that when she was a child, she was regarded as Sphinx, because whenever they had a problem, they couldn't understand, they would go to her. So mother says this was a Maheshwari aspect. Painting, perfection in organization, Mahasaraswati aspect. Music, her Mahalakshmi aspect. Charm, flowers, her love with animals, with all the creatures. And Mahakali aspect, one story which I love is when she is 7 and there is a bully in the class, much senior, probably 4 or 5 years elder to her, and everybody goes to Sphinx. Please help us. So Sphinx doesn't give them any counsel. She says, okay, I'll see. So she stands when this fellow is going to come. And he wants to come to bully her. He says, oh, you bully the girls? Whatever he must have done, she just picked him and threw him. And she says that day it was Mahakali's force which came. Lifted him, threw him down. He survived. And mother says that day it was Mahakali force which came. She didn't say anything. But this is all these aspects. So they are manifestation which takes place. As the body and being develops, they come. But yet she plays human. Playing with toffees, playing with flowers, little things with all the sadhaks, playing tennis. People found it difficult. At one point, somebody asked her mother, how do you know about someone? Then mother says, oh, you want to ask the divine. You want proof from the divine. And then he got the proof within 10 minutes. You want proof from the divine. How do I know? Okay. So this is how the mother's many ways. Then the disciple asked, I also conceive that the mother's prayers are meant to show us, the aspiring psyche, how to pray to the divine. Now he got it correct. They are the prayers on behalf of the earth, but also how to pray. And Sri Aurobindo's answer is yes. When we read her prayers, then we learn how to pray. Again, am I right in thinking that the mother as an individual embodies all the divine powers and brings down the grace more and more to the physical plane? Sri Aurobindo's reply, yes. She is an embodiment of grace, not justice. Sri Aurobindo says that if you were to manifest justice, none of you will be able to stand. Who can say before the divine, I am faultless? He says, call for grace and I have come to embody grace, to cancel your karmas. She has said, one call is enough sometimes to cancel the karmas. This is the power she embodied. At one place says, when you pray to Durga, you pray to me. When you pray to Shiva, you pray to me. So this is how she is. And then another question. The mother does not work on the sadhak directly from her own plane above, though she can do so if she wants to. She can even supramentalize the world in a day. The sadhak is asking. But in that case, the supramental nature created here would be the same as it is above, and not the earth in ignorance evolving into the supramental earth, which will not be quite the same in appearance as what the supermind is. Sri Aurobindo's answer, that is a very important truth. This is important to understand. There are two kinds of children or parents. One is when homework is given to a child, parents do it for the child. What happens in the process? In the class he gets very good grades but fails in life. But the child has never grown. Parents have done it. But the good parents are there, they help the child. Wherever the child feels a wall, they say, okay, this is how you should go. That is why this yoga and the process takes time. It's not magic. It can be magic, but then it's not evolution. Hence the long process. It's not like otherwise, it is not we transforming into the supramental beings. Suddenly you will see supramental beings floating in the luminous bodies and all these things. We will hardly be helped because there will be no link between us and them. We'll all be like that movie Cocoon, beings from alien planets coming, and we are all happy with their presence. So then Sri Aurobindo wrote two very interesting pieces in 1927, which are also here in this book. One where he says, I am the Shakti of Sri Aurobindo alone, and the mother of all my children. He is writing on behalf of the mother. Sri Aurobindo is writing, it's unique. It's there in his own handwriting. I am the Shakti of Sri Aurobindo alone and the mother of all my children. My children are all equally part of my consciousness and of my being. When transformed and realized, all will have an equal right to manifest each one an aspect of myself and Sri Aurobindo. It is the unity of all in the solidarity of a common manifestation that will allow the creation of the new and divine world upon the earth. Each will bring his part, but no part will be complete except as a power in the solidarity of the whole. It is worth reading, meditating upon. It's there in this book. And the second one which he writes is identifying with the God of wealth. Because now this work is going to expand and wealth will be needed. So Sri Aurobindo writes, I am the God of wealth. The strong and splendid. I am the master of the thousands and the regent of the millions. I am the puissant creator, the full-handed gatherer, the opulent disposer of treasures. It must be understood clearly that if we read this prayer, it's not God of wealth who will be very happy and give us money, but it shows the kind of power that he wielded, so that all the money of the world, or whatever is needed for the new creation, that will come. But it will come when we are ready and deserve it. That's the condition. So, a disciple asked that when I call down the mother, should I concentrate on the embodied mother or open to and concentrate on the consciousness of the universal mother? Very nutty people, after all this, they are still asking. Sri Aurobindo says the embodied mother must be the foundation of the concentration. Even when you receive from the universal consciousness above you, it is from her consciousness that you are receiving. Very clearly, nothing is ambiguous. And then he says that every soul on earth is a portion of the Divine Mother, but as we grow in this yoga, we realize it, that I am Mother's child. It's a realization that takes place. He also reminds us that everything comes from the Divine, so there is only one power, there are no two powers. But he reminds us this power operates in knowledge and in ignorance. In the higher Prakriti and the lower Prakriti. The mother stands for the higher divine Prakriti. If she were to accept the demands of the lower Prakriti, then it will no more be her work. Though even that has come from her. If she wants, she can do whatever she wants with it. Once I heard an ex-student from here, who had been from very long time. I remember, and this ex-student was called upon to speak on Sri Aurobindo's, or the mother, I don't remember exactly what was the occasion. So people have this, ex-student. So, person who has studied here all through, just imagine. She start by saying, the mother was a disciple of Sri Aurobindo. I still remember it. I hardly knew much, but I said, this is not true. This is not true. And then later on I read Sri Aurobindo's letter. The mother is not a disciple of Sri Aurobindo. She has always followed the same path as mine. Even now you will hear these things. Because there is a hidden resistance somewhere inside in accepting the mother. That is a resistance I'll not discuss, but it is there in some people. They just can't accept for whatever reason. Like Shringi Rishi couldn't accept Devi Parvati. It's only. So, Sri Aurobindo reminds us there is no difference between the mother's path and mine. We have and have always had the same path, the path that leads to the supramental change and the divine realization. Not only at the end, but from the beginning they have been the same. The attempt to put up a division and opposition of this kind, putting the mother on one side and myself on another, an opposite or quite different side, but has always been a trick of the forces of the falsehood. When they want to prevent a sadhak from reaching the truth, dismiss all such falsehoods from your mind. And then, of course, he talks about that, both of them have had to go through many difficulties and challenges. And then they say, because we have gone through it, therefore we want to give you the sunlit path. He says, if you walk the way we have walked, we have taken every kind of challenge upon ourselves. And so much so that Sri Aurobindo reminds us, it is in fact to ensure an easier path to others hereafter that we have borne that burden. It was with that object that the mother once prayed to the divine that whatever difficulties, dangers, sufferings were necessary for the path might be laid on her rather than on others. So, there are only 2 occasions when Sri Aurobindo, people saw him a little serious. Otherwise, infinite calm. I'm talking of the yogic days. So one such was 1925, when the mother was so seriously ill, on the verge as if she is not going to make it. And then people asked, what has happened to her? What has happened to her? Sri Aurobindo would not reveal. Later on, he said, because she took upon herself all the difficulties of everybody. Like she was drinking the poison. Till Sri Aurobindo had to tell her, no, Karunamai, no, let them also put some effort. Still, when you read her letters, they are like that. Still, you trust me, she is ready to take everything. At least that she started there. Otherwise, Sri Aurobindo had to stop. Because he saw that these people are just pulling and pulling and pulling, wanting and wanting and wanting, but giving nothing. And the mother would ask nothing. She would expect nothing. And in the process, she started taking their difficulties, started giving her divinity. There is a line, passage in Savitri. A wide magnanimity as of sea or sky. A wide self-giving was her native act. To give was natural to her. That's why she says, I am not keen to be the guru. It's much more natural for me to be the mother. And Sri Aurobindo says that's a much more intimate relation. Guru means Guru will tell you the path. You better follow it. Guru, you have to sit there. Guru, you have to maintain a little distance. You can't go to the Guru and, hold the hand and say, Guru, so nice, come let's play. He will say, no, don't, there is a line. Guru you can't take to a tennis ground. You can't tell the Guru, come, I want to play with you, little bit. Guru, after some time, retires. He has told you how to meditate, you practice it. But the mother, any time, always, she made herself accessible, came down, right to identify with us in the midst. So many stories. I am resisting. We have touched these stories time and again, and we'll take it up again sometime. Then people ask pointed question. What disciples, they want from every angle. Maybe he has missed out something. So they ask, can it happen that one who is open to Sri Aurobindo is not open to the mother? There were people like that. Is it, the person wants now to ask the same question with a little jalebi way. Is it that whoever is open to the mother is open to Sri Aurobindo? Sri Aurobindo says, the mother proposition is true. If one is open to the mother, one is open to Sri Aurobindo. He says, yes, that is true. What about the first question? If one is open to Sri Aurobindo, he says, if one is open to Sri Aurobindo and not to the mother, it means that one is not really open to Sri Aurobindo. Settles the matter once for all. And it's very simple, common sense, logic. If you are open to Sri Aurobindo, you regard him as your guru or master or whatever, you trust his word, then he is saying that turn to the mother. Then where is the ambiguity? So this, as I said, wonderful book. So such a wonderful, vast yoga. What are the conditions? How much? Once somebody told me, I believe you have to give some money to enroll yourself either in the ashram or for the yoga, because everywhere, there is money and yoga brought together. Courses are quite rich courses. Hopefully we shouldn't catch that illness. Some places it is beginning. But yoga cannot be given like that. In ancient times, yoga was Guru Dakshina. How can you pay? If that knowledge is infinite, how can you put a price tag? So many dollars. So wherever there is money, asked for yoga or for a spiritual practice, I personally feel one should just stay a little away. People give reasons and excuses, whatever it is. But if you want to be, or if you have the mandate, you cannot want to be a teacher or anything like that. But if you have been put in that place because of destiny or the Divine Mother's will, one has to remember this, that it's only on trust that this knowledge has been given. This is not a knowledge one can acquire by reading books. And this knowledge cannot be transmitted or imparted by taking money. So, Sri Aurobindo's letter, there are no conditions for receiving the influence of Sri Aurobindo and the mother except faith, number one. An entire sincerity in following the spiritual path, which is understandable, and a will and capacity. What capacity is he expecting from us to meditate? How many hours? No. And a will and capacity to open oneself to the influence. But this capacity usually comes as the result of sincerity and faith. Several places Sri Aurobindo uses the word central influence. The other day in Rama and Krishna talk, we were saying that, this influence remains on earth even when the physical being withdraws. And how I understand the influence is like, supposing there are some flowers kept in a room, and when the flowers have faded and you have taken them away, sometime people enter and they still know that the flower was there. Why? Because the fragrance is there. Influence is like that. Except that because it is a divine flower, so influence is also like the divine. It doesn't diminish, decrease. It's always there, buried in the depth. See, that's why even Rama and Krishna's influence is still there. Christ's influence is still there. It is still there. It may be covered, but we may still get that fragrance. So influence is something which you cannot destroy. You can cover it. Like if there is this fragrance, you may put all kinds of smell and it may get buried. But it is there in the atmosphere because it's there. Hawa mein gul mil jana. That's why people who come to Pondicherry feel that atmosphere of our consciousness. Then people obviously feel, can we do the yoga outside? Because this is another idea that people have. For some reason, we have to come to the ashram to do the yoga. Often people have said, your difficulties are not likely to decrease. They are likely to increase when you come to the ashram. And the reason are twofold. One is because there is an intense pressure of truth consciousness, and things that are buried, they come out. Because this place is organized like that in freedom. Second is many things that we take for granted in life. For instance, one is living outside, one is a house, one is having a salary earning. So one says that I am ready to leave everything. Now this is not simple because right now I have these things. So I take it for granted. The day they are taken away from me, then there is a different story altogether. So it's for various reasons. It's very challenging. Many people, Sri Aurobindo used to say, don't bring the person, don't let her come to the ashram. She is progressing very well. If she comes here, she may be suddenly experience many difficulties because, they come up. Of course, there is the sunlit path and the joy of nearness, but about those, because we don't know how the nature reacts, what is the degree of sincerity. So Sri Aurobindo reminds us, it is quite possible to follow the yoga while remaining outside the ashram. There are many who do it. His words. You can submit your doubts for elucidation to Sri Aurobindo. Now Sri Aurobindo is writing, many times he would write in third person. If brief answers are sufficient, as he has little time, if longer and more detailed answers are necessary, it could only be done through one of his disciples. This is, of course, part of that letter. But then, how we will write to Sri Aurobindo? Now, still he answers. But still, Sri Aurobindo gives us a simpler way. Put all before the mother in your heart so that her light may work on it for the best. In the heart. She is present in the heart of each creature. Ma, this is happening, that is happening, this, everything. Like a baby. So that her light can act upon it. We have to do it. Mother knows everything, she'll do it. No, that's not the way. Sri Aurobindo says. Mother says, because then you have to become conscious. She's not working on robots. She doesn't want us to become AI. She wants us to become DI, divine intelligence. So when we offer, then she will make us conscious. Oh, bacha, you forgot there is something else hidden inside. You wrote very nice things about yourself, very good. But see, there is something else also. So it will come up. Then you will again offer, Mother, I have become conscious. No, wait. So that is how the change takes place. And she'll take us through it. So a disciple asks Sahanadi, if I cannot concentrate or meditate, I simply imagine myself lying eternally in the mother's lap and going out when she sends me out. Very nice. Lying eternally in the mother's lap. What is Sri Aurobindo going to reply, Will he say, you people can't even do meditation? I have taught you, concentrate on the Agya Chakra, sit 90 degrees right. Haven't I taught you the method? This is the place where you must concentrate on this mantra. Sri Aurobindo's reply, this is the best possible kind of concentration, not even one of the best. Abhi aur kitna easy karna hai. Oh, people think this is a difficult yoga. Because we don't know, we think Life Divine he has given the practice of yoga or synthesis of yoga. If you read the mother, we understand. This yoga is so simple. Even he says, you can imagine the mother in the heart and make the surrender. Heart is difficult, I don't know. So mother has freely given photographs. Sri Aurobindo was not keen to give. And there was a reason for it. So most of the photographs came later. So 1950, 20 and before, we have some photographs of Sri Aurobindo. 20 to 50, we don't have photographs. 50, because the mother knew he has decided to withdraw, so as an exceptional grace, we have that Darshan Day photograph, which he had allowed, which he asked Sri Aurobindo and he agreed. Later on, you see, when mother goes to playground, a number of photographs. And all this is a grace. Taradi was telling once that she would click for mother and she was clicking. So, after 11 times clicking, the mother said, Bas, no more. But since he had one more left, she clicked it, 12th. But when she developed, there was nothing on the 12th. So this was not a photograph which they are giving. It was contained something of them. If they didn't want, you couldn't even take a photograph. There are many such stories authentically. This Tara Dius herself recounted to me. She said, I clicked because anyways 12. She said, no more, but she clicked. But that 12th was empty. So, Sri Aurobindo reminds us, your experience about the photograph was a very fine and true experience. The mother's presence can be felt through the photographs by one who regards it with devotion towards her. It was her true presence that was there. Her subtle physical presence, and all you felt was true. She and mother has said, I put something of myself in all my photographs. That's why she was giving photograph. It was not for, it was compassion. It was not like, okay, take my photograph. Signatures. She was putting something of herself in the signatures. So she has given so much as external aid. And then about music, Sri Aurobindo says, someone asked that when I listen to mother's music, I am spellbound, but I understand nothing. You can't put it in either Eastern or Western. So Sri Aurobindo's reply, it is not necessary to have technical knowledge in order to feel what is behind the music. Mother, of course, does not play for the sake of a technical musical effect, but to bring down something from the higher planes, and that anyone can receive who is open. But for mother's music, it's not really advisable the way we do 2 minutes playing mother's music, then switching it off. You're bringing down something. Sunil Das music, it's okay. So the way is either you listen, that most of her pieces have number of minutes, so play for that much time, or else you dim it slowly and leave it running till the whole thing is over. So then her words, of course, while reading mother's prayers, I feel as if I am not reading the words or thoughts, but contacting something quiet, pleasant, and formless behind them. Again, Sri Aurobindo's reply, yes, it is so. The words are only a vehicle. When the consciousness opens, one feels all that is behind the words. So like this, countless letters running through nearly 600 pages. Little less than that, I think. So we can imagine what a wealth. And this is practice. How to concentrate, how to meditate, or looking at the photograph. An easiest form of practice. At other places, he speaks about meditation, concentration in various ways. And then Sri Aurobindo describes about the mother symbol. You'll see in this book the description. And of course, the mother is also described. And the central circle, of course, is the transcendent power, Aditi, the divine mother. 4 inner petals, 4 powers working from the supermind to overmind, which we know now. Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. And the 12 outer petals. So the 12, mother herself has given those. Then mother's flag, the blue flag which is the color of Krishna. And this is the symbol, and she speaks about this, the ashram flag, that our work is to bring down this consciousness and make it the leader of the world's life. And the mother spoke about that golden symbol on the blue flag. She said it is the spiritual flag of united India. And when all the different flags were submitted, this flag had also gone. But we know that how open the great leaders were. So they had their mental calculation. Whatever they felt about green and saffron and whatever they said later is a different story. And the white and the Ashok Chakra. And the mother went into trance when she saw that flag. And when Pranabda asked, she said, there will be so much bloodshed now. So much bloodshed. Because flags are symbols. They're not just simply nice looking structures. And then we can close this with, as I said, Radha's prayer, which Aurobindo translated, and then it was retranslated from French to English. And the background we have already spoken of. One of the best, my most favorite prayers, a prayer of lifetime. Radha's prayer, this also there in this book. Radha's prayer, O thou whom at first sight I knew for the Lord of my being and my God, receive my offering. Thine are all my thoughts, all my emotions, all the sentiments of my heart, all my sensations, all the movements of my life, each cell of my body, each drop of my blood. I am absolutely and altogether thine, thine without reserve. What thou wilt of me, that I shall be. Whether thou choosest for me life or death, happiness or sorrow, pleasure or suffering, all that comes to me from thee will be welcome. Each one of thy gifts will be always for me a gift divine, bringing with it the supreme felicity. This is surrender. Surrender is not that I have given myself to the mother, but see, my court case is still pending. That is bargaining calculation. This is surrender. Joy or suffering, pleasure or pain, victory or defeat, all I have given. And not only that, she says, whatever comes, I'll receive it as a gift from you. Welcome. This is what the mother had actually done when she met Aurobindo. And Aurobindo was asked his impressions. The mother's impressions are there in her prayer. O thou whom we saw yesterday is here upon earth. So people asked, what did you see? First he said, born free. Second he said, for the first time I saw complete surrender, perfect surrender manifesting in an embodied form from the head to the smallest cells of the body when she did the pranam. And then I knew that the time has come for the divine life to be realized. Because if our body can surrender this way, this yoga demand that complete surrender right down to the cells. He could see that. And that's why perhaps when somebody asked, because for Radha people have all these notions, she existed, she didn't exist, all these things. So, mother, did Radha exist? Mother's reply is, not only has she existed, she continues to live. Who was Radha continuing to live at that point of time? She always saw Aurobindo and knew he is Krishna. But why Aurobindo doesn't speak of Radha and all that? Because the Radha aspect has been held behind. It is only for Aurobindo that she could bring it out. Because world is not ready. There was this Ananda coming close, but she said it is not, human beings are not ready. Why? Because it requires complete renunciation of pleasure in every form. That's why the supramental base. So the mother held back the Radha aspect and brought forth all the Chatusyarup Dharani and the supramental Mahashakti, so that when human beings are ready, then all will be bliss and free and wonder and beauty and love. So with this, we'll end. What thou wilt, I am absolutely and altogether thine, thine without reserve. What thou wilt of me, that I shall be. Whether thou choosest for me life or death, happiness or sorrow, pleasure or suffering, all that comes to me from thee will be welcome. Each one of thy gifts will be always for me a gift divine, bringing with it the supreme felicity. May this prayer be inscribed in our heart and become a living reality for all of us. Namaste.